picking up an instrument for the first time. It can feel like staring at a puzzle with just like way too many pieces, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe you've got a guitar, maybe a keyboard, and you're looking at a chord chart that seems completely alien.
Like ancient hieroglyphics, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you're wondering, can I actually do this? Can I make music? Well, if that sounds familiar, if that's where you are right now, you've definitely landed in the right place.
That initial feeling, that sense of being overwhelmed, it's so common. It really is like standing at the bottom of a huge mountain, wondering which path to even take first.
Totally. So in this deep dive, we're going to tackle those first steps.
Yeah.
We've gathered a bunch of resources, articles on beginner guitar chords, music scales, the common stumbling blocks everyone hits.
You're training too. Practice tips.
Right. Practice habits, even a little peek at reading sheet music.
Yeah.
And our mission today really is to pull out the crucial stuff, the essentials, to map out a clear, kind of manageable way for you to get started.
So you can navigate this whole musical adventure without feeling completely lost in all the details.
Exactly.
And it's worth remembering, whether your dream is just strumming some songs around a campfire, or maybe you're more into the technical side, like music theory for producing your own tracks.
Right.
These fundamentals we're going to talk about, they are the bedrock. They apply across the board.
Okay, brilliant. Let's get our hands dirty then. Getting started with an instrument. Now, guitar is super popular, like you said, as an entry point. So let's use that as our main example for a bit.
Sounds good.
We looked at this great article from iMusic School, and they outline 12 essential beginner guitar chords.
Okay.
And these aren't like crazy impossible stretches or anything. They're what are called open chords.
Right. Open chords, meaning they use strings that aren't fretted.
Yeah, exactly. They mostly use the open strings, and they're played down at the bottom of the guitar neck near the headstock.
Which makes them physically easier to manage when you're just starting out.
Totally. What's great about these initial chords is just how accessible they are.
Yeah, they're designed to be pretty straightforward to play and, importantly, to remember.
Which is just so key for building that early confidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Keeping you motivated.
Absolutely crucial.
And iMusic School even breaks down how to read those chord diagrams, which can look, well, intimidating at first. So picture looking straight at the guitar neck, right? The thickest string, the low E, that's on the left.
Okay.
The horizontal lines are the frets, making little boxes.
Got it.
And those black dots with numbers. That tells you exactly which finger goes where. Index finger is 1.
Middle is 2, ring 3, pinky 4. Standard stuff.
Right. And an X above a string means you don't play it at all.
Mute it or just avoid hitting it.
Yeah. And a little O, a circle, means you play that string open, no finger pressing down.
Makes sense. It becomes much clearer when you visualize it like that.
It really does. That visual guide is just so helpful for beginners.
Yeah, it turns this abstract musical idea into like a concrete physical instruction, much easier to grasp.
And these specific 12 chords, they aren't just picked randomly.
No, there's a reason for them.
iMusic School points out they're relatively easy to get the hang of, crucially, no tricky bar chords to start with.
Oh, that's a big relief for beginners. Bar chords are tough early on.
Definitely. And these 12 chords, they show up in a massive range of musical styles. Pop, rock, reggae, blues, folk.
Pretty much the foundation for tons and tons of popular music.
Exactly. So by learning just these few shapes, you can actually start playing recognizable bits of songs, maybe even whole songs, pretty quickly.
Which is hugely motivating.
Totally. And they suggest downloading their chord chart, too, as a handy reference.
That's a really practical tip. Having those visuals nearby on your phone or printed out just lowers that barrier to getting started.
Okay. All right. So you're getting your fingers moving, learning a few chords. What's the next piece of this puzzle?
Well, the sources we looked at really emphasize understanding music scales.
Scales. Right. Miss Elite calls a scale the DNA of music. I like that.
It's a good analogy. It's basically a specific sequence of notes, musical pitches, arranged in order, and it's the foundation for both melodies and those chords we were just talking about.
So it's like the raw material.
Exactly. Think of it as the alphabet, maybe, or the key ingredients for a recipe. It gives a piece of music its characteristic sound, its flavor.
MusicNotes.com gives us that fundamental example, the C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back to C again.
The one everyone sort of knows, even if they don't know they know it. Do, re, mi.
Right. What's interesting, though, is the specific pattern of steps within that scale. It's not just random notes.
No, there's a formula. For major scales, it's whole step, half step, whole step, half step.
Okay, whole and half steps. Can you break that down a bit?
Sure. Think of a piano keyboard. A half step, or a semitone, is moving to the very next key, whether it's white or black, like from E to F or B to C. Those are natural half steps. No black key between them. A whole step or a whole tone is just 2 half steps. So like C to D, you skip over the C sharp D flat black key.
Got it. So that whole half pattern applied starting on C gives you C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C.
Precisely. And that specific pattern is what gives all major scales that bright, sort of happy, familiar sound.
And that top C, the one after B music notes mentions, that's an octave.
Right. The interval between the first note and the 8th note of the scale.
Yep.
It's the same note name, C in this case, just higher in pitch.
That familiar same note, just higher feeling.
Exactly. It completes the cycle, brings you back home, just in a higher register. Same fundamental tonal quality.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Connecting these scales and chords.
Yeah, this is key.
It's not random, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our sources, like Mix Elite and also a really helpful discussion we found on a Reddit thread, they all point out that chords are very often built directly from the notes within a scale.
Absolutely. The scale provides the raw material, the set of available notes, and chords are harmonies built by combining some of those notes.
Like, the scale is the pantry, and the chords are the dishes you make with the ingredients.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
So, a simple example has came up on that Reddit thread in a beginner context. The C major chord. It's made up of the notes C, E, and G.
Right. The root, the third, and the fifth notes of the scale.
And look, C, E, and G. They're all right there in the C major scale we just talked about.
Exactly. That connection is fundamental. Understanding scales starts to unlock why certain chords sound good together, how harmony works. It's all linked.
Okay, so you're starting out, getting the hang of a few chords, maybe trying out a scale. But it's not always smooth sailing, is it? Especially at the beginning.
No, definitely not. There are some very common hurdles.
Our source on common challenges for beginner musicians lays out some really relatable struggles. One of the first is just the physical side, right? Finger strength, dexterity.
Yeah, especially on instruments like guitar or piano. Pressing strings down cleanly, stretching your fingers. It can feel awkward. Maybe even a little sore.
That initial discomfort, that's almost universal, isn't it?
Totally. Your hands just aren't used to those specific movements, that pressure.
So what's the key then?
Consistency. Short, regular practice sessions. Focusing on specific things like scales, finger exercises, or just moving smoothly between those beginner chords.
Okay. Short and regular, not necessarily long and painful.
Exactly. And crucially, listen to your body. Don't push through actual sharp pain. Gradually, that strength and coordination will develop. It just takes time.
Like any physical training, really.
Precisely. You wouldn't expect to lift heavy weights on day one at the gym, right? Gradual, consistent effort.
Makes sense. Okay, another big one. Keeping a steady rhythm and timing.
Ah, yes. The unintentional speeding up or slowing down. Very common.
Why is that so hard at first?
Well, our internal sense of rhythm, our internal metronome, often needs developing. It's a skill just like finger dexterity.
So, the strong advice here. Use a metronome.
Absolutely. Your best friend for timing. Start slow. Really slow. Slower than you think you need. And gradually increase the speed only when you can play it perfectly at the slower tempo. Tapping your foot along helps too, internalizing that pulse.
Right, get that internal clock ticking accurately.
Exactly.
Now, let's talk about what can feel like the most intimidating part for some people. Music theory.
Scales, chords, key signatures.
Yeah, it can seem like a whole different language.
And in a way, it is a new language. But like any language, you don't learn the whole dictionary on day one.
Good point. So the advice is...
take it one step at a time. Learn one scale really well, like that C major we talked about. Practice playing it smoothly, up and down.
Okay, master one thing first.
Right. Then maybe start exploring chords that are built from that scale. You don't need to know everything at once. It's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle piece by piece.
That incremental approach sounds much less daunting.
It's so important for avoiding that feeling of being totally overwhelmed. Really understand one concept before you add the next layer.
What about just feeling nervous?
No.
Or feeling stuck, like you're not progressing fast enough? Or maybe you think you're just not musical.
Oh yeah, those feelings are completely normal. Progress isn't always a smooth upward curve. There will be plateaus. Everyone hits them.
So how do you deal with that?
Celebrate the small victories. Seriously, nailing that chord change you struggled with, playing a simple tune all the way through, acknowledge it.
Okay.
And maybe record yourself playing sometimes. It can be painful to listen initially, but it's also a really powerful way to actually hear your progress over time. You might be surprised how far you've come.
That's a good idea. That objective feedback.
It can be incredibly motivating, yeah. You often don't realize the improvement until you compare.
And finally, the challenge of just sticking to a practice routine. Life gets busy, right?
Always. And practice can be the first thing to drop off the list.
Which obviously slows down progress.
For sure. Consistency really is more important than intensity here. Short, regular sessions beat infrequent marathon practices almost every time.
So the key is setting realistic goals.
Realistic, achievable goals, yeah. And creating a schedule that actually fits your life, even just 15 or 20 minutes a few times a week, makes a huge difference.
And try to make it enjoyable.
Absolutely. Mix in the technical stuff, the scales and exercises with playing songs you actually like. That keeps it fun.
Make it a habit, like any other important appointment.
Exactly. That significantly increases the chance you'll stick with it long term.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's talk about something that can feel a bit like magic at first. Ear training.
Ah, yes. Developing your musical ear.
The Use Your Ear blog describes it as learning to identify and reproduce notes, chords, melodies, just by listening.
Right. It's about connecting that music theory, the concepts, to the actual sounds.
Moving beyond just playing what's written or memorized.
Exactly. To truly understanding and internalizing musical sounds. Developing your inner hearing.
They emphasize something interesting as a starting point. Singing scales.
Even if you think you can't sing.
Right. Why is that so crucial?
It helps develop what they call pitch independence. And the very first step is just pitch matching. Play a note on your instrument.
Okay.
And try to sing that exact same pitch back. Hum it if you need to.
So it forces you to actively engage with the pitch.
Precisely. You have to produce the sound yourself, which creates a much deeper connection than just passively hearing it played.
Interesting. The blog also talks about a tonal approach to ear training. What does that mean?
It means understanding pitches, not just in isolation, but how they function within the context of a musical key, where home is.
Okay, like how different notes feel relative to the main note of the scale.
Exactly. They suggest playing a IIVVI chord progression. That's the first, fourth, and fifth chords in a key, then back to the first.
You hear that everywhere, right? Blues, pop.
Tons of music. It creates this really strong sense of tension and release, pulling you back to the home chord, the tonal center. Playing that helps you establish that feeling of home base in a key.
So you start hearing how other notes and chords relate back to that home base.
Precisely. It's less about recognizing isolated sounds in a vacuum and more about understanding their function and relationship within the music.
And they caution against some other methods.
Yeah, like just practicing intervals, the distance between two notes completely out of context. That might help you name the interval, but doesn't always translate to hearing it in music.
Okay.
And also relying too much on just trial and error on your instrument to figure things out by ear.
Why is that bad?
Because it stops you from developing that crucial internal musical ear. You want to be able to hear it in your head first.
Right. Makes sense. Okay, so you're practicing fairly regularly. How do you make sure that practice time is actually effective, getting you where you want to go?
Yeah, quality over just quantity.
We look at some great tips for effective practice from the University of Texas at Austin. They stress something interesting.
Yeah.
Most of the music you work on should be stuff you can already play reasonably well.
That sounds counterintuitive, maybe. Shouldn't you focus on the hard stuff?
Well, their point is that spending most of your time struggling with things you can barely get through can actually be discouraging and less productive overall.
Ah, okay. So, challenge yourself, yes, but don't live entirely in the frustration zone.
Exactly. Practicing things you can mostly play allows you to focus on refining the details, the musicality, the expression, building confidence.
Right, polishing versus just hacking through it. Makes sense.
They also emphasize having a clear inner hearing of the music, being able to kind of hum or sing it or at least imagine it clearly in your head.
Knowing what you want it to sound like.
Yeah. If you don't have that clear internal sound, that blueprint, it's much harder to actually bring it to life on your instrument.
That inner musical goal is what guides your fingers or your voice. The clearer it is, the more focused your practice.
And instead of trying to fix everything at once in a tricky passage,
Which is impossible.
right, they recommend focusing on making just one small thing really good. Like maybe just the attack of a single note, or a smooth transition between just two notes, or ending a phrase really cleanly. Tiny details.
What focused attention? Quality improvements, not quantity of problems addressed.
Exactly. That's where the real mastery starts to build.
And for those really tough parts,
they suggest simplifying them temporarily, but, and this is key change as little as possible from how it will eventually be played. Break it down, slow it down, but keep the core elements.
Makes it manageable. Break complex problems into smaller chunks. Classic technique.
And here's an interesting one for making changes stick.
Yeah.
Don't always practice things exactly the same way every single time.
Oh. Like vary it.
Yeah. Introduce small variations. Play scales a bit slower one day, faster the next. Start an exercise from a different point sometime.
Why does that help?
It forces your brain to engage more actively, apparently. That variability strengthens the neural connections and helps you retain the learning better than just read repetition.
Ah, interesting. Less autopilot, more active engagement.
Right. Now, thinking about planning your practice across the week, they actually recommend breaking your time into shorter segments, even if you feel like you could keep going for ages.
Stop before you're totally exhausted.
Yeah. Stopping while you're still relatively fresh can actually be more beneficial long term. Helps prevent burnout, keeps you motivated for the next session.
Good advice. Quality focus time.
And within a single practice session, they suggest mixing up your activities. Don't just grind away at one scale for 45 minutes straight.
Okay, so variety within the session too.
Yeah. If you have, say, 3 things to work on in a 45-minute session, maybe spend 10-15 minutes on each and cycle through them, rather than doing 45 minutes solid on just one.
Even if it feels like you're not going super deep on each one in that moment.
Apparently, yes. That kind of varied or interleaves practice has been shown to be really effective for skill development overall.
Okay, worth trying.
They also give a quick reminder. Pay attention to comfortable posture and movement every time you play.
Oh, fundamental. Good physical habits prevent injuries and just let you play better, easier. So important.
Definitely. And finally, at the end of each practice session, take a minute or two to actually think about what you accomplished.
Reflect on it.
Yeah, and describe tangible goals you achieved. Not just, I worked on that song, but today I was able to play that tricky chord transition smoothly 3 times in a row.
Be specific about the win.
Exactly. That solidifies the learning and gives you that clear sense of progress, which, as we keep saying, is so vital for staying motivated.
Absolutely, that positive reinforcement loop.
Okay, now, we also dipped into reading sheet music based on resources from musicnotes.com.
The dreaded dots and lines for some?
Yeah, I'd honestly be a whole separate deep dive, couldn't it?
Easily. But the basics are manageable.
So let's just touch on the real fundamentals. They describe sheet music simply as a written language. It represents pitch, rhythm, and speed.
A visual system for encoding music, yeah. So it can be shared and learned across time and space. Pretty amazing, really.
The foundation is the staff, those 5 horizontal lines, and the 4 spaces between them.
Right. Each line and space represents a different note letter, A through G.
Then you have clefs at the beginning, like the treble clef.
The curly one, often for higher instruments like guitar, flute, violin, right-hand piano.
Right, and the bass clef.
Looks kind of like a C with 2 dots. For lower instruments, bass guitar, trombone, cello, left-hand piano.
And these clefs basically tell you which line or space corresponds to which specific note, like an anchor point.
Exactly. They orient you, tell you the pitch range. They even mention those mnemonics to help remember note names.
Oh yeah, every good boy does fine for the treble clef lines.
FAC for the spaces. All cows eat grass for bass clef spaces. Good boys do fine, always for the lines. Whatever works for you.
Huh, yeah. Then the notes themselves have different parts, right? The head, the stem, maybe flags.
Mm-hmm. The position of the note head on the staff tells you the pitch, which letter name.
And whether the head is filled in or open, plus the stem and any flags or beams, tells you the duration, how long to hold the note.
Correct. They introduce basic values like whole notes, longest, half notes, quarter notes, getting progressively shorter. Dots and ties can extend durations too.
And rests, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Symbols for silence. Equally important.
Absolutely. Music is sound and silence.
Understanding those basic visual symbols is the first step to decoding the rhythm and melody.
Definitely.
Then you usually see a time signature near the beginning. Looks like a fraction, like 44 or 34.
Right. Top number, how many beats in each measure, each bar of music.
Those segments divided by vertical lines.
Yeah. And the bottom number tells you what kind of note gets 1 beat. So 44 means 4 beats per measure, and a quarter note gets 1 beat.
Okay. Provides the rhythmic framework.
Exactly. And tempo markings tell you how fast or slow. either BPM, beats per minute, or those Italian terms like allegro for fast, adagio for slow.
And finally, key signatures. Those sharps or flats grouped together right after the clef.
Those tell you which notes are consistently sharp or flat throughout the piece, based on the key, the main scale being used. Connects right back to our scale discussion.
Gives you a heads up about the home scale of the piece.
Precisely.
Wow, okay. So, as you can tell, learning music is definitely a journey. There's a lot there.
It is, and you're absolutely bound to hit some challenges along the way. Everyone does.
But hopefully, by focusing on these fundamentals we've talked about, those beginner-friendly chords, understanding basic scales and how they link to chords.
Being aware of those common hurdles and how to approach them, embracing ear training.
Developing those effective practice habits, and even just starting to decode the basics of sheet music.
You can build a really strong foundation, a solid base for whatever musical path you want to take.
And these concepts, they're all interconnected, aren't they?
Deeply interconnected. The chords come from the scales. Ear training connects the theory to the sound. Good practice habits help you master it all. It weaves together.
Absolutely. So if you're listening and feeling that overwhelm right now, just remember, start small.
Really small, manageable steps.
Maybe learn just one or two of those basic guitar chords this week. That's it.
Or try playing a simple C major scale up and down a few times, really slowly.
Use a metronome for just 5 minutes during your next practice. Tiny goals.
Every little bit of consistent effort really does add up over time.
And don't hesitate to explore the resources we mentioned or others you find. Those online chord charts, music theory websites, musictheory.net came up in that Reddit thread. Highly recommended.
Yeah, great site, lots of exercises. And there are tons of ear training apps out there too. Many are free or low cost, lots of support available.
Definitely. And, well, on that note, maybe just take a moment later today. Think about the music that you really, truly love. How might understanding these basic building blocks, these fundamentals, unlock an even deeper connection for you, allowing you to not just, passively listen, but to really understand it on a new level. Yeah. And maybe, just maybe, even start creating some music yourself someday. Music that moves you.
That's a pretty exciting thought to leave people with, isn't it?
I think so.